Her boobs boobed boobily as she bounced down the stairs.
Ugh, that's disgusting. All men do when they write female characters is objectify them. Women are much more sensitive and realistic. Watch. He was a 7-foot-tall former preschool teacher with a tragic past and a dong so big you could see it through his jeans.
What? You just did the same?
Also, he was a stalker. His dong dongled dongily as he stalked her through the streets of her hometown, always remembering how he had been abandoned by his mother as a child.
But you're just...
He chopped off a man's arm.
He chopped off a man's arm?
And left it on her doorstep and hid in the bushes, and when she came home he popped out like surprise, and then they used the arm in their lovemaking that night while his dong...
Stop saying dong.
While his dong dongled and dingly dangly dong 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 da dong dong dong. Let me see that dong.
So guys, this video has been a long time in the making, okay? A long time in the making, and mainly because of my move and all that. But we're not getting into that. We're getting into another commentary video. Now this one is going to be a little different because this one is more look into my opinion and your guys' opinion and bringing it all together to come to a final conclusion on who we think writes the opposite gender better. We're gonna take a deep dive more into women's side and men's side, and I noticed by y'all votes that y'all mostly voted for women, okay? Mostly voted for women, and we got a little bit voting for men. I feel like it's a hard question to answer, and that's exactly why we're gonna be looking more into it to actually come to a conclusion. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Garcella Robinson. This is my little part of the world where I talk about books, anything that's happening in the book community, and of course whatever I want, because this is my channel. So guys, y'all already know we skipping over the definition, we skipping over the historical context of my videos. Usually I love to put them in, but this is more not even more, this is very opinionated for me, and I really don't like doing that. I want to be able to back my statements up with facts as much or what my conclusion end up coming to, even if you guys don't agree. But I feel like for this one, because we have so many writers, we have so many authors, both in the movie context and the book context, and just for having that, it's really going to be all opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be able to back up all of this with facts. So it's just what I feel, especially for someone who reads both a male written books, male authors and female authors. So let's go ahead and get more into the video. All right, so starting off in my starting conclusion, I just want to say I'm a little bit in between, okay? Especially after looking at a lot of y'all comments and looking at I did it on Instagram, I did it on TikTok, and I also did it on YouTube. And from looking at y'all comments and me myself reading books and watching movies from both parties, I definitely feel like I'm a little bit in between. Now the reason why that I'm in between, because I always feel like when it comes to authors, you have women authors who also write bad male characters, and you have male authors who also write bad female characters, but you do have some that also write both, you know, both of them good, and they are okay with divvying out, kind of making this character a full-fledged character. So I kind of feel like that's why I'm in between, but I'm going to be going over for both sides, female authors and male authors, on problems that I see when it comes to them making a bad male character, or problems that I see when it comes to making a bad female character. And it's gonna see if my mind end up changing, or even if y'all comments end up changing my mindset on it. But right now I'm in between, okay? And then I'm gonna come up with my final conclusion, and we're gonna end up breaking this all down and deciding, at least for me, deciding on who I feel like write the opposite gender better. But right now I'm in between. So just to bring this back in a circle, y'all, this is all my opinions, okay? This is all my opinions. So everything that I say can definitely get taken twofold. I definitely would love to see y'all comments, especially in the beginning of the video, before I start bringing my facts, what you guys think would be like, who you think writes the opposite gender better, and what are your reasons on why you picked that person. And then let me know at the end if y'all end up changing your mind after I end up giving you all of the things that I've experienced, both for the reading side and the Hollywood or, you know, writer side. So let me know in the comments.
I think that men in books are too lustful, okay? Stay with me. I feel like books are escapism, specifically romance, but when I open these books and I read a male's POV, too lustful. And that's why there's certain authors I can't read anymore to protect my peace. I want like actual love and romance. I feel like romance nowadays is like, people are like labeling their genres incorrectly. You do a dual POV book and there's a man's POV in there, and I flip to his chapter, and every thought that he has about the woman that he's supposedly falling for, has feelings for, is falling in love with, is all purely sexual, lustful, what she looks like, her body, her ass, her tits. That's not romance. It's not. It's lust. You know what I mean? Like, it's lust. It's not romance. And I feel like I rarely read authors in romance genre that truly, when you read his POV, it's literally about their feelings.
Starting off, I want to go into female authors, okay? So the good things that I feel like female authors do, I definitely feel like they make their males more emotional than you see in life, especially because of the societal standards that males have to be tough all the time. They can't be weak, they can't cry. But when you experience female writers, they are able to show male emotions more than you see in real life. I feel like that's one good thing that they have for going for them. Another good thing is that they really try to put the female in the perspective of the male. I do feel like this is also bad too, because a lot of the times you notice that women like to write more in the male perspective because they want to be able to kind of like, I feel like, at least to me, when I be reading books like that, whenever I see we end up having a male POV, especially because we say that romance books are for uplifting ourselves and things of that nature, but wouldn't we be able to get that from just the women perspective? But instead we add the male perspective in to kind of feel like, kind of have like an insight onto what males are thinking. And I feel like that's why women love it so much, me, myself included, especially because when I was reading, I done took up reading a lot of romances, especially ones with male POV, and kind of diagnosing what I felt when I was reading those. And I felt like that's what it came to. Like when I was reading from a male's perspective, I felt like I was actually getting the experience of seeing how males think in real life, which isn't true. That's why I feel like it's a bad thing, because in real life, like, well, not even technically in real life, we're still reading from a woman's perspective. We don't know what women actually think like, men think like this. And a lot of the times too, that I will say a bad thing that I've seen when reading books from female authors is that when they write in a male perspective, a lot of the times it's very lusty. And I've seen TikToks on it, and I definitely agree with it, because I feel like when it comes to making, like, a lot of the times we don't really see the emotional element in the yearning that we, you know, that we're able to experience. And if we're able to see it from a male perspective, I don't believe that, at least I don't want to believe that all male think about is just sex all the time. And that's what happens in a lot of romance books. When you get the male perspective, he always talks about her body, he never talk about any other thing. And especially with this coming from a male perspective, it's kind of like we kind of lowered them. I feel like we lowered them but also uplift them in a way, because we like, oh, okay, he's so fine, he's thinking about all what I got going on and stuff like that. But not only is he thinking of that, he also thinking about what you can do with your body. Like, would this relationship last outside this book? And a lot of the times, I don't feel like women do that very well in their books. Not all women, but some women. And I do see it in a lot of romance books when they end up adding in the male perspective. Now, I do want to say one author that I like, what kind of gave me this wake up call was Plus Size Player. I have it right here. So it kind of gave me a different perspective to realize how toxic I've been. It made me realize how toxic that my reading standards were when it came to reading, getting that feeling of always reading from a male perspective. Because when I read that book, even though it's supposed to be a romance, it was like she kind of awoke something in me. And this not really doing, like, I'm not trying to rep the, well, I want to rep it because it's a very good book, but it's also really different. And it made me bring up the mindset that I did, especially when it comes to women writing, is because for that book, it really made me look within myself, because we were reading from, one, there's no male perspective, and two, when I was reading the book, it's not completely focused on the romance. Like it's focused on her life, and then her romance is just a plus. And you don't see that in a lot of romance books. A lot of the times we'll read a book and the women are just as needy. Like they need the man to live throughout the book, even with it being a romance, but still they just can't go through life or the next step, the next plan, without having a man. And for something that's supposed to uplift us, we're kind of still facing those societal things that we try to say that we're away from. So I definitely feel like that's something that I don't like in romance books. Yes. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to female authors, when it comes to writing women and men, I noticed that they build they make the men have more depth than the female lead. And hang on with me, okay? I'm like I said, this is not for all authors. This is just my thoughts on it. But I noticed that when I'm reading a lot of books, especially by female authors, a lot of the times when they have a female lead, it's like, even if it's supposed to be just a fantasy or any other genre, like they cannot go without having a romance in their book. Like you don't have that many, if you think about it, especially let's say, like, especially in like fantasy or anything like that, literally we cannot get a book if there always is a male character behind them. Even when we're doing romantasy, like I understand it's supposed to be centered around the romance, but a lot of the times the male is so fleshed out. Like say for instance, Fourth Wing, I feel like that's one example. Fourth Wing, I feel like the male character is way more fleshed out than the main character. We kind of just get like little snippets for the female. Of course we're getting it in her pove, but it's not just her, but it's also other books too. It's just very one dimensional. Like I don't feel like they put as much depth that they do in the female characters than they do in the male characters. Like in male characters, like literally we know everything about this man, how like his trauma, his this, his that, his this, the third. But when it comes to the women, like we know about their trauma and stuff like that, but you don't feel the impact as much as they make you feel the male impact. Like even if we're reading from a male perspective, it's kind of like we're reading the book through the female gaze into the male's perspective. Like I noticed that in a lot of female author books, and it's something that I don't like. Well, I wouldn't say I don't like it, but it's definitely starting to get noticeable to me after I end up thinking up this commentary video that I wanted to make. Y'all, I feel like I have so much to say, but I don't want to feel like I'm bashing them. But this is what needs to be done, okay? That's what needs to be done. The next one that I have to say that I feel like that's definitely when it comes to writing female authors writing both male and female, I definitely feel like a lot of the time we always talk about men and how they talk about women and their body and stuff like that in fantasy books. I'm not taking up for them, I'm just stating this. But on the other hand, we do have female authors who objectify and sexualize the male characters as much as the as much as the males do for the female characters. So I feel like that's one thing that both of them coincide with, on something that's very similar that they both do, but we talk about it with men more. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to female authors is that a lot of the times I feel like, as much as we don't want to say it, because I feel like the reason why we don't see it that way is because we're women ourselves. So we kind of like to say that we're kind of try to be the bigger person, and then you have some of us, not all of us, still falling into the things that we try to correct other people on. And one of them that I want to mention, y'all, okay, bear with me, is literally like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like a lot of the times when you're reading romance books, I don't want to just go off romance books, but I feel like that's a genre that we're really influenced by. Just like for fantasy, I feel like the males are very influenced in there, but for the women, it's romance for us. So that's mainly the ones that I'm referencing off of. But I feel like a lot of the times, the one thing that we see that you'll see in romance books is the pedophilia. Yeah, I know. Okay, guys, I know. I didn't want to mention this one. I feel like this one is, taking a little bit darker of a turn. But the reason why I'm mentioning it is because a lot of the times we'll have these older guys. These men are like 40 years old. And then you'll have this girl, she like 17 and stuff like that. And we're writing it and, well, not weird. They are writing it and it's getting passed off as romance, but the girl is still a child. You know what I'm saying? She's still a child. Regardless if she's 17, 17, 16. She don't be 18, and half the time these women just be out the house, and they already dating some 40-year-old man. And a lot of the times when it comes to when they're writing these characters, like, it's literally no romance. It's just straight sexualization on both parts, the girl and the older guy, who's sexualizing this girl and saying that he want to fight it and stuff like that, but it still end up happening, and we end up romanticizing it. Yeah, a little creepy. I ain't gonna lie, a little creepy. Like, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. The more that I keep on getting into it, the more that I keep on even bringing up these situations, it make me realize that for females, it's really been putting me in a slump. Now that I think about it, like, I really don't. I would say I do have a lot of books by females, I feel like. But I took a break on romantasy. I don't want to read no romantasy. I don't want to read anything by Sarah J. Maas. I don't want to read anything of that nature. Like, I'm just over it, okay? And this is, like, I feel like this is more of a me thing. It's not a worldwide thing. And I don't want to sit there and feel like I'm bashing women. I'm not bashing women. I'm just pointing out a lot of the things that I'm starting to see in these books. Now, this is not all authors, okay? This is not all female authors. We do have some very great ones out there who writes really, really good and who gives character development to each of the characters, both male and female, and they don't make it seem like we're seeing the male perspective through the female gaze. Into, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could just keep on going, but like, we're just getting the male's whole perspective in a book that's supposed to be about the woman. And another thing that made me think of just that is one thing that I do see when it comes to female authors is that for women, a lot of the times they, like, say for instance, if this girl, like, she's powerful and stuff like that, but for some reason the male is always more powerful than her, or she end up giving up her powers at the end of the book. Like, for some reason, like, we always make our women like they just can't be happy, and that's not all the time, but it's definitely enough that I'm mentioning it, okay? They always end up making them weaker than their male counterparts, and that's crazy because these are women writing these books. So do you feel like that you're less than in these books? Like, do you feel like you need to, especially because it's your own imagination, and if society standards is sitting there influencing you even in your own books, that's something that you need to look within and not be writing to other people. Like, I'm not talking to the authors, I'm just saying in general, because this has happened a lot, okay? Like, how you end up, they say that they the strongest, and for some reason they be getting their hind beat. Like, it don't make no sense. It don't make no sense, okay? And that's another thing that I don't be liking from female authors, or at least when it comes, I'm talking about females, but I'm saying for the opposite gender too. Like, it all comes down to, I feel like this whole entire thing comes down to, at least for the females, it comes down to authors, at least female authors, wanting to put, so, like, I feel like you could kind of tell that they love writing the male character more than they like writing the female. Like, they end up, the female who's the main character end up getting neglected a lot. Like, a lot. It's crazy. They end up getting neglected a lot. And I feel like one thing that I wanted to mention, I wrote it down too, is one thing that I wanted to mention is that we bash the men for pretty much making their women over feminist. Like, they can't do pretty much the TikTok I just showed y'all, okay? They end up making them exactly like that. But for women, now that movies are starting to come to the big screens, we starting to see the same problem with them. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like Hollywood is picking the wrong books, okay? I feel like they're picking the wrong books. I just want to reiterate that. They're picking the wrong books. But either way, this is what we're getting represented as. Those books are literally our love, at least there other people, a mass group of love that's going to those books are making them books come to the big screens. And those big screens are showing how little we think of women. Like, even from them, like, we see in the movies and stuff, and it's still coming from a male perspective. And another thing that women be doing too that I notice is that a lot of the times let me put it in words, okay? Let me put it in words. Another thing that I noticed that women authors do in books, not all of them, some of them, but I noticed that a lot of the times they end up, they end up excusing all bad behavior from the male, from the male. Like, even if the male is doing something real sneaky, jivey, or whatever like that, they forgive them so easily. I sit there and be reading a book, and I'm telling you, that must make me DNF it so fast if they sitting there talk like he done did X, Y, and Z, and it's like super bad, and they forgive him. And you just like, and because they supposed to get together, like it's supposed to be HEA, but he done did something so conniving, so jealous, and all he did was remember her middle name or something like that, and next thing you know, she back with him. Like, come on now, be for real, be for real. Now, like I said, we get into the end of this, which I feel like I could go on, and that's not what I'm here for. Because, like I said, they both, you know, for women, women authors at least. For women authors, we do have some good ones out there, and sometimes they be hiding in the cut. Like I feel like Cruel Prince definitely did a good job. I didn't feel like I was seeing it from the male perspective. Any books by R.F. Kuang, she does such a great job. And The Invisible Life of Addie LaRae. I definitely feel like it's those books that actually make you think, that where the women and the men both get their own fully fleshed out representation, and also too when the male is not the center of attention. And I noticed that in a lot of romanticy books, and why I've been kind of falling off of it a lot. But yes, I noticed that in a lot of them, and at least the things that I've stated. But like I said, there are female authors out there who does a great job when it comes to writing the opposite gender. But I feel like now that I'm thinking and I'm going over it, I'm not gonna lie, like as much as women really like, this might be, you know, a little controversial, I don't know, but as much as women, I be seeing on TikTok of women falling in love with the male, like the way that females write their males, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it. Yeah, you know, after stating all these things, I don't like it. Let me know in the comments if this either changed your mind, or if you got something that can back up me actually agreeing with the females opposite gender vote. Okay, because right now, at least when I'm thinking, I don't know if they got it.
Karma's a bitch, so call me Karma. Swords? That's so 2000 and late. What's my superpower? Attracting unemployed men. On it, I'm always cleaning up after you boys. Don't be a wuss. I bled more than that on prom night.
Max Lord, you are putting everybody in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone.
We are in no man's land, but I am no man. I've got my extra large tampons in and my iced coffee. Let's get to work, boys. Where did I learn how to fight? Try having 10 brothers. I may have 9 lives, but I've got 0 to give.
Okay, y'all, I had to take a break because I wanted to grab some coffee. But now we're going into the men. It's about to get saucy in here. It's about to get saucy. Now, I'm going to try not to be as, like, I wouldn't say as judgmental. I'm going to be just as judgmental. I feel like if we're going to get into the nitty gritty, we need to bring out all the flaws that the male authors be having. Like, I know they be getting a whole bunch of comments, / you know, videos and everything about them, but just as hard as I went on the women, I'm not about to do them any different. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I want to start off on something that I really love that the men do, okay? Like, I know. I feel like I did this for the women, so I must do this for the men too. And the one thing that I really love that men do in their books is that they really flesh out every character. I noticed that even to me in TV shows, movies, even in books, at least from my perspective, in the movies and shows that I watch, not all of them, I really feel like they flesh their characters out. Now, going into what I feel like is bad that they be doing is, of course, we all have been going over it, and that's the misogyny that you see in books. Like, I feel like you see it a lot, especially like when it comes definitely to them writing the opposite gender. Now, when it comes to the misogyny of it, I definitely feel like they kind of don't give the same struggle to the women, okay? Like, a lot of the times the females, like, even though they're fleshed out and stuff like that, they have like their own whole entire thing, it's still like they don't put as much depth as they do the men. And what I mean like that is, a lot of the times when it comes to males writing female, I feel like they don't give them a lot of struggle. Like, for some reason, especially when they're OP, I see this in a lot of movies, is that when they have this OP character, she can't ask for help. I'm power strong girl, power this, that, and the third, and she don't have no struggle. Like, a lot of the times you'll have their male characters who go through all this struggle, and for women, even though we ask for equality meaning I would say treat them the same way, that you kind of give them the same depth that you would give the man. Like, the same way they be having, for instance, the same way they be having Captain Captain America or Iron Man sitting there getting beat up and stuff like that to be able to, you know, climb up to the top and become as powerful of superheroes, even though I hate Captain America. Okay, let's get that down. I don't like him. But either way, they still end up going through their own struggle story to get to where they are. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the women get a struggle story too, but it's not to the extent that they do the men. And after, even though you go through that struggle, they become this me power girl. Nobody can't tell me no. I do this the way I want to. I'm sexy and blah, 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 stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you literally could go on TikTok and see how men be writing women, and we definitely could see it back to back to back, okay?
Iconic passages of men writing women, part 5. She must have been 27, 28 years old and was stunningly beautiful. Intensely black hair, tragic eyes that were jungle green, crowned by full eyebrows, raised in slight surprise. Lips as if silicone filled, but in reality, fattened merely by the nature of ephemeral ethnic mixtures. Conde saw himself threatened by small breasts pointing skyward like surface-to-air missiles, and perceived the woman's hips either as an oasis of peace or as a battlefield. Her skin shone thanks to a smoothness reached at the point of her maximum splendor, tinged with the color made by a few drops of coffee in milk. Angelina Jolie. Conde's male chauvinism, which could not be helped, forced him to consider that sexy woman who loved other women as a painful waste of evolution.
But I do want to say this is mostly Hollywood. Now, I know y'all, listen, okay? Listen. This is mostly Hollywood. I see this with a lot of movies. I don't really see it in a lot of books. I've read books by T.J. Klune. I've read books by G.R.R. Martin, Joe Abercrombie, and a lot of the times when they do their women, I actually like the women. I actually like them, okay? And I really see for when they do women, they really flesh these women out. And that's not just them. I literally could name a lot of authors when it comes to books of them fleshing out the female character and not making it over sexualizing it. I wouldn't, but I'm not going to say all their books. I only read a few, and the few that I have read, I have seen them fully flesh out the characters, not over sexualize them. In my view, okay, it might be different, and like I said in the comments, if y'all want to sit there and battle me against this, y'all can. You know, I'm open to changing my mind even after I made this video, okay? This is what this is here for. We are here to comment about it, all right? Make conversation about it. Yeah, that's good. Another thing that I don't like that men do, I feel like when it comes to romance, I can't even lie. Women got it in the bag, all right? Women got it in the bag. I feel like when it comes to romance or even like romance when it comes to male authors, especially because it's supposed to be fantasy, so they don't really center, at least the ones I'm talking about, because I mostly be in the female genre when it comes to male authors. But I noticed that when it comes to the romance, they kind of don't for the female, like, she'll show up, like, they really don't make it a priority for the women to have a big scene in a book as they do the males. I mean, as females do the males. But I also feel like this is also a good thing, because if it's about a certain character, women should not be the center of it. I know that's crazy to say, but it's true. Like, we should not be the center of it. Like, of course, bringing that woman in and having her story and everything, but not making it like we're seeing the main character, like we seeing the side character through the the male's gaze. Like, I feel like that's a bad combo to do. And yeah, they do that good. They do that good, y'all. But even with the romance, I feel like one bad thing that I don't like to see is a lot of the times when males write female characters, they end up making them strong, they make them powerful and things like of that nature, and they do a really good job with them. But I feel like once they get into a moment where they like either fall in love, go with somebody, something like that, for some reason they always end up making them weaker because they end up choosing to fall in love or start a family. Like, they don't continue to have them be strong. It's like, oh yeah, once you end up falling in love, your life is over. And I feel like they really do that with books, and I feel like they also do that in Hollywood, because you notice that as actors get older, especially female actors, when they get older, a lot of the time they choose to put them in mom roles, or they don't really be as powerful. Like, they kind of like the side character who give the main character some pointers and stuff like that, and that's it. But when the male characters get older, they continue to have them be in the spotlight. They could play any role, or they can play any character in a book, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times when they get older, like the divide is different. Like, it's kind of like they continue to lower women, even when it's in when it's in roles. And I feel like that's the same way society playing a part, because a lot of the times when it comes to society, even if this is all fantasy, this is what I'm trying to say, this is all fiction. So it's like, why are we continuing to bring societal standards into a book that's supposed to be about our fantasy? Like, that's the same way where I was saying, like, with women, how we need to take a deeper dive within ourselves. Males need to take a deeper dive within themselves, because if your mindset is kind of being controlled by what is happening in this world, like, at that point, it takes the fantasy out of it and make it somewhat close to a reality, because you can't sit there and take yourself out of the real world to put yourself in a book without bringing the real world problems into your book. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to male authors is that they either make their female characters either really emotional or unemotional all the time. I feel like this goes into more of, a lot of the times, like, one thing, because my brother, he really loves to read books. Like, he mostly read books from male authors, so I really got a lot of pointers from him to make me come to, like, kind of to bring you guys on my thoughts, because I read male authors too. Let's get it straight. I read male authors too, but he has more in depth with it, and my sister too. But we end up going over it. And another thing that was mentioned was, a lot of the times in books, especially in books and movies, we all notice that when it comes to males writing females, a lot of the times these women all act the same. Like, in one book, that same female character could be acting the same way with a different name in another book. It's like they all got one book, and like one book on females, and they like, okay, let's pass it around. This is how women act. And then another author gets it, they grab it, and they put the same exact description on how her character be. I feel like another one is that a lot of the time, like I said, I don't want to say all authors, because not all of them do that. And I want to be able to give an example at the end of authors that I don't feel like does this. Of course, I won't be naming all of them, but just books that I have where I don't see these patterns in these other books. But yeah. Another thing that I noticed that when it comes to male authors, when they're writing females, is a lot of the times that when they end up making these characters, like, let's just say they make this character badass, right? It's like when they have their own male main character, this, like, of course he's his badass in some aspects of his life, but they don't mind having him be somewhat emotional in areas where it's needed. But when it comes to women, when they be writing women, for some reason this girl, she badass throughout the whole entire thing. Her family just died, she's still stoic, she done got her whole like makeup fixed, dressed to the nines, and she's still like, oh, you know, everybody dies once in a while. Like, for some reason she just can't be emotional at all. Like, she gotta continue to be this badass person throughout the whole entire movie or show, books, it don't matter. She has to continue to be badass throughout every aspect of the entirety of the whole entire series. Like, her personality just don't change. It's just, she a badass here, she a badass there. That's it. That's all you gonna get. Another thing, I feel like this is my least liked one, y'all. This is my least liked one that I feel like males be doing all the time when it comes to writing the opposite gender. And that is, a lot of the times when it comes to them writing the female character, for some reason, every time the female character comes in, for some reason, she end up becoming like, she sit there and be like, oh, y'all can't, pretty much the men cannot think because she done came in the picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the times I feel like, so say the woman, she end up coming in, they end up like inviting her, and for some reason she become the mom of the group. So she making all the plans, she telling them what's gonna go, how it's gonna go, and this, that, and the third, making every aspect of that planning. And a lot of the times it be making it seem like, oh, the males can't think for themselves without the woman making the plan. And I don't know if they do that just because they want their female audience to be able to feel that, like, you know, feel like they have a say in it or whatever whatever it is, but I feel like it needs to stop. Like, because the same way that they were solving problems before she got there, they could still continue to solving problems even when she there. Like, she don't need to be the mom of the group. She could just be a character. You know what I'm saying? Okay, y'all, the last thing I'm gonna say, I don't feel like I done been rambling on long enough, y'all. And the last thing that I'm gonna say is the one thing that I feel like I don't like when it comes to males writing the opposite gender is that if they sit there and don't know how to write them, they just gonna exclude them altogether. Okay, like you'll end up being like, say you'll be reading a fantasy book, or even watching a show or something like that, and a lot of the times you'll have like 30, 20, however many men in these movies, books, or whatever the case may be. You'll have so many, and for some reason there's only like 3 women in there, 4 maybe. Like, you just don't see a lot of men, well, a lot of women. You don't see a lot of women, or enough of women. Like, they just excluded them from the whole entire book, other than the romantic partner, whatever the case may be, or the romantic partner to a side character, or, yeah, a whorehouse. So, guys, that is all my thoughts on it. If y'all have some more thoughts or some things that y'all thought about that y'all feel like could persuade me later on, you know, I'm always open to it. But right now, I feel like my final conclusion comes to this. I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel like neither do the opposite gender justice. Like, a lot of the times, I feel like what made me even want to do this video in the beginning, because I was seeing so many women talking about how they love the way that women write men, and how, you know, that whatever the case may be. And it made me realize that a lot of the times I don't feel like they do a great job, and I don't feel like men do a great job writing females either. Like, don't get me wrong, you have some examples, some people who are the exception, but I feel like when it comes to a majority, neither can have it. Like, not even women. So like I was saying, when it comes to the majority, I just feel like neither do each one justice. I feel like for the women, they always try to make the male the center of attention, and I feel like when it comes to men, they either try to exclude them or they over exaggerate women. So it's like they both not good, y'all. They both not good. So I feel like whenever I see that, when people say like, oh, you know, it just depends on the situation, I feel like it don't even depend on the genre. It don't depend on nothing like that. I feel like it just depends on the author, because when you have a male author who really want to be able to flesh their story out, they will write a fantastic woman. And when you have a woman who want to be able to actually have characters fall in love with the main female lead and also relate themselves to her, she would write a fantastic male lead that's more realistic and not fantastical, or you know what I'm saying, more realistic. And when you be able to experience that, it's not, oh, women write better. It's more that author just did such a beautiful job when it came to giving each character depth. And I feel like the more that I go over, like, the things that I've seen, like, a lot of the times when it comes to both genders of authors, that's what I see in them. And it's literally the same thing over and over and over again. But like I said, you always have your exception, and it don't be all authors. A high majority, but not all. So that's why I feel like my final conclusion would be neither, y'all. I know it came down all for this, like, for me to bash them and stuff like that, and for me to pick out, not even really pick out, to bring up the things that I've seen happen a lot when it comes to both authors. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say neither, y'all. They both don't do a good job. They both don't do a good job. And to me, I feel like, how could they? You know what I'm saying? How could they? Like it's kind of like, even for women, when we write in men, we pretty much write the way that men, well, how we want men to act in real life. And when you think about it, when we sit there and write how we want men to act in real life, really, it's us. You know what I'm saying? We put so much thought and process in the male lead in the books that we don't realize that we're writing a woman. Yeah, I know. We're writing a woman. We're writing how a woman acts. And for males, when they end up writing a female character, they write the female how they feel like they should act. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time, but how they feel like they should act, or how they feel like they should maneuver themselves throughout the book, pretty much being silent, not being too open, not being too out. And if they do get described, it's more because of the appeal to her. And for the men, like for the men with women, like it's both it's a conundrum, y'all. It's a conundrum. They both have their problems, y'all. They both have their problems. And I feel like neither could do the other one justice, because I feel like when it comes to writing men, I really love men that gets written in fantasy books more than I love the women that's in there. And like I said, it's mostly overpopulated by male authors. And when it comes to women, I really love how women are depicted when it comes to, I wouldn't say romance. I don't like that. But I would say literary fiction. I feel like literary fiction does a great job with it. And depending on the author, when they write their females, because they make them so realistic that you're able to put yourselves in their shoes. And I feel like they have their depth to them. They don't make these characters, at least in those genres, if I had to choose genres, in those genres, they don't do the extra or the over explanation of it. So, yeah.
He wrote her every single day. 3,000 pages of my love for you. It's so beautiful.
So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I know y'all see my new setup, okay? It's looking a little cute. I had to make me some coffee. I saw my mom making it, so I had to make some. But we're not on that. We're not on that. We're talking about the video. But I had so much fun making this video. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on, or if you feel like you could change mine, or if I was a little too harsh on either one. I'm not really sure. I feel like a lot of time when I'm recording, I just be talking, y'all. I just be talking. But let me know your thoughts, and if you actually feel like you could keep it to one author. If you, well, not one author. If you could keep it to one gender, like say if you did feel like women write better men, or say if you did feel like men wrote better women, I want to know you guys' thoughts. I want to know if you could be able to persuade me to think differently. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. But once again, thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more commentary videos like this. And once again, guys, I shall see you next time. Bye.